Good evening. Good evening. Welcome into another episode of First and Goal, presented by Titletown Sports Talk. I'm your host, Spencer Young, and this is our third episode. And I appreciate everyone that comes and watches. Please leave a comment, like, subscribe. So, what we do here on First and Goal is this is a Patriots podcast. So, what we're going to do is we'll cover the week that was, go over the highs and the lows, talk about injuries for the Patriots, key additions, practice squad signings, news around the league. Go over the week. I hope you was setting, picking the games. I'll let you know what my lock of the week is. So if you guys are in the survivor pool, I'm pretty good about it. So I'll help you out. If you got anything to say, leave a comment. Chat lives matter. My co-host Turf taught me that on our show Dead in the Water we do tomorrow night. If you guys like what you hear, please feel free to drop in tomorrow night. Listen, it's more entertaining with two people. So I still haven't quite got the hang of talking to myself yet, but we are going to keep pushing forward anyway. So enough about that. Let's get right into it. Let's take a look at the injury reports. Right, it's important coming into the week. So here's the injury report for the Panthers and the Patriots as of today. We've got a pretty lengthy injury report for the Panthers. Ted McMillan, Xavier Legette, Hunter Renfrow, Jatavian Sanders, DJ Wanham, Patrick Jones, Tershawn Wharton, Rico Dowdle is limited, Taylor Moton limited, JC Horn limited. Now the limiteds look like that's normal. It's the NIR rest, so that just means they're giving them time off, recuperate. Hunter Renfro's he looks like he missed for personal reasons, so it's probably not a big deal for him either. The other ones, calf, hamstring, ankle, hip, hamstring. Those are worth monitoring because those are some pretty big names. Jatavian Sanders is their tight end. Ted, of course, is the big guy out of the draft this year. Legette, big guy out of the draft last year. And then some defenders. Wanham, Jones, Wharton. That's it's not good for them. Could just be smoke though. So keep an eye on it. See what it looks like going forward. As we come into the weekend, we'll know for sure by Friday what everything mostly looks like. As far as the Patriots go, we've got a short report but impactful. Jared Wilson, Kayvon Chasen, Christian Barmore, and Christian Gonzalez. Now, Barmore, I can tell you, is that's not unusual. He had the blood clot issue last year, and they don't really push him for the Wednesday practices. So I'm not worried about him at all. Christian Gonzalez looks like he's trending towards playing this week, so that is that's good. He's ramping up his reps at practice this week, so I think if all goes well this week, we're probably going to see the 2025 debut of Christian Gonzalez, which finally, welcome to the team. Finally, we've got our DMPs, Jared Wilson and Kayvon Chasen. Now, both of them played last week, so I don't know if this is just a precautionary thing, but ankle, knee, and knee, those are a bit concerning. So red, I'm assuming, means added to the injury report today. So that means it's something that is new. So we'll keep an eye on that. Again, if you've got any skin in this game financially, definitely going to want to know the stats of those two. Uh, Wilson's been playing pretty well. Chasen's been kind of up and down, but uh, those are two starters, so we don't we don't like seeing those big names on the report. Now, I'm going to start with uh, last week. I can't tell you how much that one hurt because the Steelers are not better than us. There was not a better team than us. The defense played pretty outstanding. I think they allowed one first down in the second and third quarters combined. And there's probably not many games that you should lose when you allow 20 points, 21 points. Our offense is just not good enough. I don't really know how to sugarcoat it. Seems like I'm going to say this. This may be an unpopular opinion. I think Vrabel likes and prefers his guys. And I think he's doing what he's doing to kind of show everyone, like, look, hey, these guys aren't cutting it. We're going to have to play my guys. Now, who I'm specifically talking about in this situation is linebacker Christian Ellis. Ellis has been uneven. He popped a little bit last year and had some moments and looked really good, but he's not looked like he belongs as a starter this season. That's the most I can say about that. He's had spots where he looks good, but he just is average to poor in coverage and missing, and he's probably poor in run defense right now. Like, he got pulled out of the game because his run defense was that poor. And they put Gibbons in. And Gibbons is a former Tennessee Titan. Gibbons is a Vrabel guy. Now, I think Gibbons got himself in the doghouse in week 1 with a gaffe on special teams. But it looks like he's back in his good graces. And, when they turned to him, it was over. We shut him down. So I can't imagine that is going to be a short-term thing. Maybe they'll give Ellis another chance, but I think sooner rather than later, this is going to be Gibbons' job full-time. I think that's kind of the desire. I think that was the design that Vrabel had going into this year, that Gibbons and Spillane would be the linebackers. Those are his guys. Those are his players, right? Had them both on the Titans. I just don't believe – I think in his mind, the quicker we cycle the old Patriots out of the building, the better. I think is kind of his approach, right? And he couldn't do it all overnight. It's going to take a couple of years to get it done, but obviously they saw something in Ellis because they signed him away from the Raiders, right? They could have just let him go. And in hindsight, maybe that would have been the right move, is just let him go. But he's still a young player too, and he had a lot of promise. I was very impressed with him last year in the brief glimpses that I saw. So I'm not going to write him off completely yet, but I definitely think that this is shifting more towards Gibbons' world. Now, I think this coming week, if Gonzalez is back, we're going to finally get to see what this thing looks like. This is what I was very excited with about going into this year. This is what made me think that this could be a top 10, potentially a top 5 defense. Obviously, we haven't had the health. The linchpin to that defense is Gonzalez being there. Um, Forced Alex Austin into too much time. Um, he's a good player, but he's not Christian Gonzalez, and he's not replacement level for Christian Gonzalez. But when you get Christian Gonzalez out there, and then you couple him with Carlton Davis, and then you're able to move your, super rookie Woodson back to safety where he belongs. And you could play him as the big nickel when you need it, and you play him as the safety otherwise, free safety. That's, I think, where the sweet spot is with this team. Once you get that personnel package on the field, we can start making some moves, right? I'll tell you this, that if that was the defense week 1, I don't even think Oakland scores. Forget about beating us. I don't even think they score. Certainly Trey Tucker doesn't bust coverage and get that cheap touchdown in the first quarter or second quarter. But I don't know. The 5 turnovers last week, that was a killer, right? So now let's talk about the turnovers. We had, let me see if I can remember all of them. Drake May had a fumble. That's 1. Drake May had an interception. That's 2. Ramondre had a fumble. 3. Gibson had a fumble. 4. Now, Mondre had another fumble. That's your 5. So Mondre had 5. We had 5 turnovers in total last week. 2 of them are on Mondre. 2 of them are on Drake. Now, everybody's talking about the 2 fumbles from Mondre, 1 being on the goal line. Yes, very concerning because we know he had a problem with it last year, and now he's got, I think, 3 or 4 fumbles on the year this year. So not trending well. Now, although Vrabel didn't come from the Belichick coaching tree, I'm pretty sure Vrabel is on the same wavelength as Belichick when it comes to turnovers like this. Now, I don't think, like, Belichick might have put Mondre on the shelf for a couple weeks if he was still the coach. Now, I don't think Vrabel's going to do that, but I do not think Mondre will start this game. Now I hear a lot of media in Boston saying they think he should be benched for the game and all this, but I don't necessarily think that's going to happen. I think the more likely scenario is that Mondre is not going to be the starter. My guess is it's going to be Henderson. Looks like when I look at the practice reports, he's getting the number 1 reps. Usually that's an indicator. And Gibson fumbled last week too, and that was, one of the problems he had when he was in Washington. So the only sure-handed back you have right now is Henderson. And Henderson has looked a little over his head so far this year. He came out of college with a reputation for blitz pickup and pass blocking, run blocking. And he's looked a little shaky. Not going to lie. He's looked a little shaky to start the year. So could just be that where he's seeing stunts and speed that he didn't see in college, which, I wouldn't be surprised, but I kind of would too. Because, he plays the big boys, right? He's not in some janky conference like Ashton Genty playing, nobody university week in and week out. I think maybe it's probably just related to not being really a part of the game plan. You know, when you're just standing on the sideline, you come in for 4 or 5 snaps for the whole game. That's I mean, it's kind of hard to be in the flow of things and be in the game and be paying attention to everything. So yeah, I mean, should he be ready to go when his number's called? Yes. Can I kind of understand like him not necessarily knowing the situation and missing something when he's you know been sitting on the sidelines for 85-90% of the game. Yeah, yeah. I think we saw in week one when you get him involved, good things happen. So I fully expect that they're going to get him involved this week. He is by far the most dynamic running back we have. He's by far the fastest running back we have, and he's by far the best receiving back we have. Now I know Mondre's done a nice job, but Henderson is just better at all those things. And if Mondre can't get those tough in between the tackle yards, then what do we need him for? That's the one thing that I thought he might be able to do for us this year. I always kind of after we drafted Henderson, I was like, okay, it's going to be kind of like a thunder and lightning kind of thing where Henderson's going to get the outside zone runs and the passes, and Mondre's going to do the dirty work. He's going to get the goal line carries, the short yardage carries, and he's just going to clean it up. 3, 4, 5 yards in a cloud of dust kind of deal. But, you know, fumbling twice is a backbreaker, especially in that game. In that game where you probably should. Steeler fans are probably going to be upset about this, but we should have beat them by at least 2 scores. At least 2 scores. And that's just how it is. Like you guys got lucky. That's what you did. You got lucky. Your quarterback's old. He did just enough to get you a win. His luck's going to run out pretty soon. I don't see the Steelers going very far this year. That division is just too tough to try and win it like they win it. It's a lot of smoke and mirrors. So I don't see. I mean they're like a I don't know 7-8 win team maybe. It's my guess. I mean the way we've been playing too, we might be a 4-win team. So what am I talking about? But that it is what it is. I thought Drake looked fantastic. The interception, he just didn't see the corner. I mean, he just I think he got a little excited. Thought his guy was wide open. Didn't see the corner underneath, and I mean, the right throw was to put some air under that ball and get it to the back of the end zone. But it is what it is. So it's I just have to remind myself that he's, hasn't even played a full year yet. It's I think like his 10th or 11th start. And he's so far ahead of where I thought he would be, honestly, that I just have to be patient with it. Because, I mean, he's doing, 90% of it already. It's just those little things, right? Like the fumble and the interception. Like they're killers. The fumble in the fourth quarter basically gave the game away. And it's we just can't have that stuff. Like we just got to clean that stuff up. we play a clean game, I think we'll start stacking W's, honestly. And it should start this weekend. Carolina shouldn't be able to hang with us. Not at full strength. Um, Gonzalez and Davis should take away any pass threat that they have. And I hope that they learn from what happened last week and they play Gibbons. If you're going to rotate the two, I'm fine with that. But, I would say just know that you got to have Gibbons on the field in any situation where you think it's passing down. Any situation, actually for a run too. Gibbons did an awesome job all around last week, and Ellis did not. So I would honestly, I would go with Gibbons this week. I would go with Gibbons, start him, see how it goes. It's really can't be worse than how Ellis started last week. I would like to see some more Keon White. I feel like he's kind of an afterthought in this defense now, and I'm not really sure why. Maybe it's an attitude problem, but um, coming out, I thought Keon was going to be a weapon for us, and he just hasn't kind of lived up to it yet. So I would really like to see him get some run. Get do some pass rushing. I don't know. I don't know if that's all he's capable of doing these days. Maybe his contain is bad on run. He's letting people get outside of him. I don't really know, but he was a player that I was very interested in seeing what he could do this year with Vrabel, and I haven't really seen much of him yet. On the offensive side of things, people are getting on Demario Douglas for that gaff at the end of the game where he caught the ball on 4th and 1 and went backwards instead of diving forwards. And you know what? He looked okay for the rest of the game. He just, he made a mistake. He hasn't been super involved. I don't know if that's just the kind of routes that he's running, or if he's just not applying himself and he's not. I haven't watched the game film that closely to see exactly what's going on, but it just could be that Drake's not looking his way, right? I mean, Tom looked for Julian. Like, Tom relied on Julian. Now, Julian was, obviously a better player than Demario Douglas, but I don't know. I really don't. So I did hear some calls for more Kyle Williams, more Efton Chisholm. You know, let's leave. Let's cut Demario Douglas out a little bit more. I'm not sure if that's the answer, but I would really like to see Efton Chisholm because I do think he's got a strong future, and I would really like to see what he can do against some NFL level talent and see if he can actually do it. He was kind of like the darling of the preseason. He showed out in every game he played in significantly in the preseason. Every practice, all the practice reports talked about, this guy is a problem. He's a mismatch. His short area quickness is elite. And I don't even think he's been active yet. He's on the practice squad, and I don't think he's been brought up. So I don't know. I would love to see him, obviously. And I can't argue with more Kyle Williams. Seems like when he gets the ball in his hand, good things happen. Now, Chisholm is actually correction. Kyle Afton Chisholm is not on the practice squad. He's actually on the roster. He just hasn't seen the field. He's got no stats. So maybe it takes an injury for him to get some work, but I think I think he I think he and Kyle Williams could definitely use at least some reps. I mean, doesn't have to be the whole game, but maybe a series or a play, something here and there. Kyle Williams has gone on the field sometimes. He's made some plays. It's I kind of really like our receiving core. Diggs has looked excellent when he's gotten the ball. I just think that he's getting more. It's kind of tough though when you got Hunter Henry and Austin Hooper kind of just running that 12 personnel and just cleaning up. But I mean, every time Diggs has had the ball in his hands, he's looked great. Unfortunately, I mean that hasn't been much. Let's take a look at his game log year to date. So Las Vegas, 6 catches on 7 targets for 57 yards. Miami, he had 4 catches on 5 targets for 32 yards. And then against Pittsburgh, he had 3 catches on 3 targets for 23 yards. Average is about 8 yards, 8.6 yards per catch. So that's not great. As long as catches for 16 yards. I'd like to see him get some more opportunities to run with the ball in his hand. But he's been, I mean, of those 3 catches last week, I think 2 of them were for first downs. So I can't complain about that. He's moving the chains. But I think he's much more of a weapon than we've seen so far. Right now, he's on pace for like 600 yards. They need to ramp that up because I could really envision a world where he gets up to like 900 yards. I just think because of his recovery, they don't want to really mess with him too much, push him too hard or too fast. But I think he's playing a considerable amount of the game already. So I think it just gets down to how comfortable Drake May is throwing to him. But, I mean, he's a pro, and he is an all-pro. So it's just something they got to work on. 13 catches on 15 targets. The dude catches everything you throw at him. So let's throw some more at him and see if we can't make that happen. Kayshon Boutte was looking real good week 1, 6 catches on 8 targets for 100 yards. Everybody was all excited about that, thinking this is, the beginning of a breakout. And then Miami, 1 catch, 1 target, 16 yards for a touchdown. Pittsburgh, 2 catches on 3 targets for 28 yards. Not nearly as involved. I'd like to see that change. It seems like his attention has shifted to the tight ends and a little bit more of Mac Hollins in this past week. So Hollins had 4 catches on 4 targets against Pittsburgh for 27 yards. Nothing crazy, but 4 targets was, it's probably good for second or third on the team targets. The real story was Austin Hooper and Hunter Henry. I mean, these guys had, great games. Hunter had 8 catches for 11 targets for 90 yards and 2 touchdowns. So fantastic game from him. He had kind of a stinker against Miami, but he did well against Vegas. Austin Hooper's been kind of silent this year until he got into these last couple of games. That first game he only had one catch, and he had three against Miami for 38 yards and two against Pittsburgh for 28 yards. So nothing crazy, but he's definitely getting looks, right? So 3 targets each week. So that's not bad for the backup tight end. The line has looked fantastic. Will Campbell, I mean, that was a masterclass last couple weeks actually. He's played really well. He had a tough week one, some penalties, but I mean this past week, I mean that was some work he put in this week. I saw a couple plays where he just basically just annihilated the pass rush. So I mean, he's doing a great job keeping Drake upright. It seems like a lot of the pressure that I'm seeing when I'm watching the games is coming from the right side of the line, not the left. So I mean, that's Morgan Moses and Mike Onwenu. Oh, excuse me. Been a long day, but they have given me some concern. Onwenu's looked pretty solid. Moses has looked pretty good for the most part, but he's definitely you can see some cracks in his pass protection, and it's maybe just age related. I mean, he is kind of up there. He's starting to lose maybe half a step, and then some of these elite pass rushers can, like TJ Watt, can give you trouble. But I've thought for the most part the line has held up pretty well. Our running game is disastrous, and we kind of saw this last year with Mondre. It's like the numbers are just not there. I mean, let me take a look at his averages from last year and see if he's kind of trending in the same direction. Right now he's averaging 4 yards a carry, which is, it's just fine. That's good. He's got 10 catches for 138. He's on pace for less than 500 rushing yards and almost 800 receiving yards. That's kind of crazy. Let's take a look at last year. Right. So, I mean, he came in the league and I mean, he was a problem. 4.6 yards a carry. Followed it up in 2022 with 1,000-yard season and 5 touchdowns, averaging 5 yards a carry. I remember that. He was amazing that year. That was great. That was 2022. Following year, wasn't quite as healthy. Had 600 yards rushing, still 4 yards a carry though. So, but now we're starting to see a trend down. And then it was a 24. He had 800 yards rushing, 3.9 a carry. And by far and away, 25 is looking like it's going to be his highest receiving year. But I mean, he's 4 yards a carry. It looks like is kind of how it's going to go. But the fumbles, you can't have these fumbles, right? So his rookie year, he had 1. He had 2 in 22. He had 1 in 23. Then he had 6 last year, and he's already got 2, right? And I mean, that's not projecting well. If you got 2 through 3 weeks, I mean, that's not good stuff at all. Um, you just got to take better care of the ball. That's it. All right, let's see. What else do we want to do here? I'd say that's enough about last week. I'm tired of talking about that game. Let's talk about the Carolina Panthers and what are we looking at this week? This Carolina Panthers team, um, they feel like they got a lot of talent, um, but haven't really showed. They're 1-2, second in the NFC South. Obviously, they had that big win last week against Atlanta. Let's look at these guys. We got Bryce Young, a quarterback, Andy Dalton backing him up, Chuba Hubbard, primary runner, Rico Dowdle backing him up. Then we got Tet McMillan, Hunter Renfro, Xavier Legette, two of which are on the injury list. Then they got, let's see, the next lines of guys. We got David Moore, Bryson Tremaine, Jimmy Horn Jr., Jatavian Sanders is on the injury list as well. That's their starting tight end. Their line, Taylor Moton, Chandler Zavala, Cade Mays is their center, Damian Lewis, and Ikem Ekwanet, left tackle. Now, let me take a look at their defense here. We've got Patrick Jones is questionable. Ashawn Robinson, Bobby Brown, Derek Brown, Christian Roseboom, and Patrick Jones are your left side. Your right is Tevin Wallace and DJ Wanham. Your cornerbacks, Mike Jackson and J.C. Horn. Your safeties are Trayvon Mooring and Nick Scott. And your nickelback is Chow Smith Wade. I'm going to be honest, I'm not super familiar with this team, but J.C. Horn is pretty good. Let me see where their stats rank them. Let's see. Carolina's allowing opponents to score 17 points a game. They're scoring 20. Now, that is kind of jaded by this last score because they scored 32. Let's see here. 39% third down efficiency. They're 62% of fourth. Let's see here. Yards per attempt, 5.3. So they're not throwing deep down the field. Everything's close to the line of scrimmage. And that's despite having Tet. So Tet probably brings that number up. Net passing yards per game, 186. Yeah, this offense not very dynamic. 3.7 yards per rush, 90 yards rushing per game. Yeah. penalties. So through 3 games, they've got 17 penalties. So that's, it's not bad. 6 penalties a game for, 60 yards total. That's, I bet the Patriots would take that. As a matter of fact, let's take a look at them, and I'll tell you what their numbers look like. Let's see here. Penalties. Yeah, so the Patriots are 27 for 199. Ouch. Ouch. So they're in. Their opponents are getting 27 penalties for basically the same yardage. Oh, man. So Patriots win time of possession. 6 fumbles, 4 lost. That's not great. Obviously, that's heavily jaded by this past game. I thought otherwise. This past game was an improvement for them as far as like penalties go. They played a fairly clean game. Couple penalties, but nothing crazy. Nothing that anybody would have been terribly upset about if they'd won the game. The bigger point is, is that we can't put it all together. So I mean, hopefully we're moving in that direction, and this is going to be the week we do pull it together. But we need to bring our A game, and we need to bring our A personnel. I think we do those 2 things. Carolina should be light work. But if we do the same crap we've been doing for the last 3 weeks, where it's penalties or fumbles or interceptions, then we could very easily get beat. That's the $1 million question though, is what team is going to show up this week? My guess is that we're going to see some different personnel, and Josh is going to have a game plan to take advantage of that personnel. So I'm thinking Henderson's going to have a big day. I'm thinking we might see some more balls to Diggs. I think it's time to get Diggs more involved. He looks really good, so I don't see any reason why you can't start ramping him up. He doesn't even look like I still can't believe he had an ACL injury last year. He's looked that good. So let's go. Let's go. That's what I'm talking about. Like Patriots to cover. That's how it should go this week. Patriots cover. Now, in that vein, let's take a run through the week and see what we got. All right, so Thursday night special. This is the game that we're going to be watching tomorrow night on Dead in the Water. Seattle at Arizona. And we got, let's see, the line is Seattle by 1.5. Over-under set at 43.5. Interesting. Now, Arizona lost their starting running back, James Conner, for the year. But how are we going to do? I'm going to do. I'm just going to pick these games straight, but I'll also, for my own personal tracking, I'll track the straight wins and losses. But I'll also throw you guys a bone if I think they'll cover or not. This game is on the road. Seattle's at Arizona, so you know, given that, I am thinking that this is probably going to be Seattle, which, I mean, 1.5 point favorites on the road. That tells you something. So I'm gonna go Seattle on this one. Let's move to the Sunday games. So on Sunday, we've got what's going on here. Hmm. I I've got Pitt. Oh, this is the road game. So this one is being played overseas in Ireland, in Dublin. And it's Pittsburgh versus who's the other guy? Let me see here. There we go. So it's Minnesota at Pittsburgh. An 8:30 in the morning. Those games are crazy. 8:30 a.m. matchup in Dublin, Ireland. Um, Now, this is Carson Wentz versus Aaron Rodgers um, abroad. So they're calling it a home game for Pittsburgh, but obviously it's not a home game for anyone. Minnesota's favored by 2.5 in this. I'm picking Minnesota straight in this game. I saw enough of Aaron Rodgers last week to not believe that he's capable of winning uh, a game where the team he's playing doesn't beat themselves. Washington at Atlanta. Now, this team is starting to crater. That loss to Carolina, that was ugly. You bench your quarterback, you go to Cousins. Cousins look good. Now I don't know what you do. Do you go back to Penix or do you stick with Cousins? This was kind of the problem I always thought they were going to run into, and it's not a good one. So the silver lining is that this game is in Atlanta, and I don't know if Washington's going to have Daniels back this week. That is worth monitoring, but either way, I think Atlanta should win this game, um, especially coming off a loss like they had. But I'm gonna lean towards Washington. Mariota looked pretty decent in relief, and this is kind of a revenge game for him too, because Atlanta was the one that unceremoniously took his job away when he was down there. So I don't think there's any bad blood, but I think there is some hurt feelings. So I'm going to pick Washington in this case. As far as the lines go, Minnesota 2.5. That's tough because I mean this legitimately could be a field goal game. Um, so if I'm picking the line 2.5, I think I'd probably go Minnesota to cover the 2.5. Same thing with Washington to cover the 1.5. Next game is Buffalo and New Orleans at Buffalo. Um, yeah, this game's going to be a bloodbath. I think Buffalo. If you're in a Survivor League and you haven't used Buffalo yet, feel free to lock that one in. New Orleans is going to get beat good. 15 and a half points. That's a big spread. Um, do I think they win by 15 and a half? That's that feels too big for a cover. So I'm going to go with New Orleans. 15 and a half, that's a lot. But, I might just be wrong if Buffalo just kills them like 46-3 or something. We'll see. I guess if that happens, then you know that New Orleans really has no intentions of trying to win a game this year. We'll see. Cleveland at Detroit. We got Detroit favored by 9.5. Jeez, 9.5. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go with Cleveland to cover that. So let's get our all right. So there we go. There we have it. That's it as far as news goes. The I think I mentioned this before is Mike Evans is going to be out. Um that's and Connors is out for the year. Rashee Rice is still on suspension. Addison's still on suspension. Not a ton has changed. Injuries are starting to mount across the league. But, most of it's just soft tissue stuff. So maybe somebody's out a week here or there. Um, nothing too crazy, but if you're playing fantasy, make sure you check your roster. It's weird stuff that happens. Like somebody just recently got injured in practice. So it's definitely something you want to keep an eye on. That's it. That's it. It's another episode of First and Goal. And I'll get out of here with let's F and go. Let's go, Pats. Let's get a win.